could also look at it as a callback to that, like them referencing themselves being in Fortnite already. They set up Summer's side plot with her being trapped in spring break for an entire year. Apparently Jellybean is also a slur now. Not sure what that's supposed to mean, why that's derogatory. You can let me know in the comments what you think Jellybean is supposed to mean now. Nobody mentioned Jellybean in real life though to anybody. Don't want to commit any hate crimes there. Beth is watching Interdimensional Cable. Notice the crystals on the cable box are lit up. This looks like a parody of The Bachelorette, just some other universe version of The Bachelorette. The whole thing with the egg farts is just a normal thing. Like, you eat a lot of eggs, you're going to get a lot of farts. Because it's Easter, they make a lot of egg-based references. R.I.P. to whichever liquid creature that Rick is pouring down the drain. They never reference it again. Notice in the background when they're eating too, all the decorations look like a little kid made them because Jerry has the skill level of a little kid. They make a joke about how most major holidays are just commercial tools corporations use to sell more things. The Simpsons did a huge parody of this way back in the day with their Love Day episode. Nobody remembers the real origin of holidays. They only remember that you buy gifts, spend a lot of money, eat a lot of candy, which they also follow up at the end of the episode saying that they should never learn the true origin of holidays because they'll be super messed up like the origins of Easter now in the Rick and Morty universe. You could also look at that as another joke, like one of the many jokes of them clowning on Prometheus, saying that there are backstory that we did not need to know. Like the whole idea that Prometheus revealed a bunch of backstory that people were upset to learn about. Like, wait a minute, the engineers created humanity? We didn't need to know that. That wasn't useful for the Alien franchise. The Prometheus movie was disappointing for a number of reasons. Jerry making the joke about being a good dad, meaning he has to go straight up the middle now, I think is just a reference to him being sensitive to all things or anything that a kid could possibly do or any way they could change their belief system or want to change their body, like any gender or political related issue. Like, if I want to be a good dad, I just got to be cool with anything and everything that you come up with. None of the rest of the family cares about Easter, leaving him to go to the store by himself, winds up running over the unthawed Easter Bunny creature from the Alps, the ancient Easter Bunny, throwing up in his mouth because he ate too much candy, which they also use some follow-up bits for. Like, did you try and kill him because of all the vomit in his mouth? To be fair to Jerry, the car crash was enough to kill him. Like, his body was mush before that. He was definitely going to die no matter what. They do the standard intro with the same scenes as before. I already broke down all these new scenes from Season 8 down in my Episode 2 video, so if you want to hear more about the new scenes in the intro, just watch my Episode 2 video. Jerry takes the corpse back to the house, and Rick confirms that this is the actual Easter Bunny. He's real in this universe, but they obviously use it for like a much bigger mythology backstory with the Prometheus jokes. You notice the rest of the family continually clowns on him. They do this all the time. Like, Beth is hardcore herself, not just Summer. Like, they are really mean to Jerry. Rick connecting the Easter Bunny's origin to Germany in the 13th century is setting up the whole mythology for later in the episode. The idea that this used to be a 13th century monk or religious figure that was transformed into a human-like Easter Bunny that was then frozen in the Alps, unfrozen because of global warming, and then was hit by Jerry. And now Jerry, because of the Easter Claus, big Santa Claus reference, now has to become the next Easter Bunny. That's why Jerry starts loving the lettuce, the other greens, the drinking water like a rabbit, setting up the whole bit where they make the Tim Allen Santa Claus movie jokes. Like, Morty literally calls it out. He even calls the logic of the bit out, saying that it's wrong, which I think is the writers clowning on themselves for writing a bad joke. Like, this joke doesn't make sense. If you have not seen the Tim Allen Santa Claus movies in a long time, the whole bit is that he accidentally kills Santa Claus, and the clause in the Santa Claus name, like the clause of the contract, is that he has to become the next Santa Claus.
You're the new Santa. I am not Santa Claus.
So they find that Jerry is going to turn into full Easter Bunny form by the time the actual Easter holiday happens in the next 2 days, giving them their ticking clock for the episode. Rick traps Jerry in a crystal to slow his transformation, and the Dan Brown reference is to the Da Vinci Code, which they turned into a movie series with Tom Hanks. That movie reveals some secrets about the origin of Jesus Christ, the idea that he was a real person with a real family, had a child, and in present day, one of the other characters of the movie finds out that she is literally the biological descendant of the actual Jesus Christ. This is meant to flow a little bit with the combo Prometheus backstory Easter egg for like the true origin of the Easter Bunny in the Easter holiday. And the idea in the Prometheus movie where they get into the true origin of the alien xenomorph species and the origin of the actual human race. Rick also seems like he loves the concept of spring break just in general because of all the partying, helps Summer by encouraging her debauchery, and gives her a second fake stomach so she can drink extra booze, but also winds up saving her life because she's trapped in spring break for a year, but the second stomach winds up helping her survive that whole time. So did Rick know that she was going to need that second stomach to survive, or was it just a coincidence? Then he makes the Indiana Jones reference, setting up the whole map transition bit when they go to the French Alps, leaving Beth and Jerry teamed up. The map transitions, like I said, Indiana Jones bit, except they add the portal animations, because the whole joke is that the portal just sends them directly across time and space. They don't actually need to fly across the map like Indiana Jones normally does. They make a great David Zaslav burn. The whole joke here is the writers not wanting to support any causes that David Zaslav might hate because Warner Brothers, which technically owns Rick and Morty, is controlled by David Zaslav right now, so theoretically if he wanted to, he could fire any of the writers that he wants. So none of them want to get fired by him. They would want to call him out, but also say, hey, please don't fire us at the same time. All the chaos, the bad things that have been happening at Warner Brothers from the top down, like every bad decision, every canceled show, every canceled movie, getting Batgirled, all this crazy stuff, really like the bad guy that you can point to in all this, like the grand villain is David Zaslav. So that's why you see so many David Zaslav jokes in a lot of TV shows and movies right now. Everybody is both worried about getting Batgirled, but also wants to call him out. They discover the spot where the ancient Easter Bunny unfroze in the Alps, blaming global warming. The Iceman Timothy Hutton joke is a movie where his character in the 80s finds a Neanderthal frozen in ice during an Arctic expedition, and during that movie, they unthaw him and he starts learning about what's happened. It's also a bit of a joke about how the older Hollywood writers that write on Rick and Morty, like Dan Harmon, being an older writer, being sentimental for the 80s, when most of the younger